You know, humanity itself, it's with human evolution, like history doesn't always favor the smart, the vigilant, the brave. No. It, what is accepted throughout history is eventually species come to extinction, and humanity may not be that far away. I mean, like Homo sapiens have been around since, I don't know, 200,000 years. I don't think it's going to last like another 10,000 years. I don't think so. Seems to me that humanity has peaked somewhere ago, but it seems to have, and yeah, we have gone through some trials and tribulations before, but you know, the consequences of a hierarchical society, you know, seems to have really, really, really took a toll on humanity. Now, don't get me wrong. Even if we weren't living in a hierarchical society, even if we were living in a renaissance, it still doesn't change the fact that humans most likely may not survive the next 10,000 years. The DNA is probably going to make us seem outdated to what's evolving on Earth. We like to think of science fiction as like intergalactic space voyages to other worlds and stuff like that. Good luck getting to Alpha Centauri, okay? Good luck fucking getting to Alpha Centauri. I understand that's like 4.3 light years away, but that's so fucking long to go to. I mean, the energy to fucking get there and the time it takes to reach that point and then to accelerate and decelerate, it's it's way too much. It is way too much. All right. Sure, we may discover life on other planets and stuff like that, but I don't really think there's going to be much of a space age civilization. Sure, we may start to establish bases on the moon, but people can't live there forever. Basically, live there long enough, and you have to readjust yourself to the gravity of Earth. You know, this is whatever realm we live in. I like to call this the moral realm. It's just the rules of where we live in, basically. Like intergalactic space voyages to other worlds is just way too ambitious. It's not like it's not very unlikely it's going to happen, despite science fiction making it seem like it's possible. It just doesn't seem very possible. Like like if you were to implement a space colony on the moon and stuff like that, if someone just breaks the hardened glass, either by accident or some sort of shit, if that glass breaks, you're basically fucked. Okay. I know people have been on space stations for like 6 months, but as soon as you get back on Earth, you have to readjust to the gravity. Like, be on there long enough, and it's just impossible to live on Earth. You go to Mars, and if you adjust to the gravity on Mars, you can't go back to Earth. Even though Elon Musk wants to like terraform Mars and some shit like that, it ain't going to happen. Mars is just a fucking shithole. It's too fucking cold there. Let's talk about back on Earth. Okay. It seems to me that humanity may be facing extinction within a time frame of about 10,000 years, probably even less, probably much less. You know, humanity has like a gifted ability to actually create civilizations and stuff like that, which may be the first time that was ever possible. If you weren't counting the Silurian hypothesis, but that's just a hypothesis nonetheless. But, humanity's slowly going into extinction. The apocalypse itself may be slow, but many species who are going into extinction just don't know they're going into an extinction until they're too late. Many species, when they're the only one of their kind left, don't realize that they're the last of their kind. And then the more lonely they become, the more they find that they can't find another species of their kind. They're basically like, it's terrifying. Like, there was a recording of a bird that was in Hawaii in 1987, and that was the recording of the last bird of its kind before it got extinct the same year. That is just depressing. That's just fucking depressing, man. I've accepted the fact that humans are not immortal, that we're eventually going to be extinct in the next, within 10,000 years or earlier than that, but witnessing human extinction in my lifetime is actually pretty scary. I mean, we have like a situation where it all started in Japan and much of Asia about the fertility rate declining, and Europe is starting to follow suit. Fertility rate in Africa and wherever like developing countries are like relatively high, but even that's declining. Now, humanity going above like the 500 million population threshold it seems to be a mistake. All right, I don't think, Earth may be able to handle way more than 500 million, but I don't know if that's really true, considering from the Georgia Guidestones, which in 2022 someone fucking blew it up because they think, oh, these globalists are gonna make us go extinct or something along the lines of that. No, I don't think that's the point of the Georgia Guidestones. I think it was supposed to suggest that maybe we shouldn't go above the threshold. It wasn't calling out for any genocide. You know? It was like built in like 1980 around that time. And there was a hole that points to the North Star Polaris. And that, it was transcribed in like 8 languages. It was a pretty interesting kind of piece of history, and then someone had to blow it up. Before they blew it up, they vandalized it. It's crazy, Now, the low fertility rate that humanity may go through may not be the extinction, may not be the end of humanity in and of itself. It's probably just a period of like, we reached well above the threshold, and then we should probably go back to the population cap that we are. I think that's the point. But eventually it's going to come to a point where human DNA is just going to be outdated. And basically, humanity won't be able to survive. All right, considering how much damage we have already done to the environment. Now, don't get me wrong. There's many people out there who are actually trying to resolve this, and I appreciate that. But there's so many fucking tech bros and shit like that wanting to fucking put AI data centers everywhere. Like, big tech wants to place AI data centers in fucking Alberta, where I live. It's like fuck. Like, if I can't get clean drinking water and shit like that, if I can't get electricity, might as well relocate somewhere else and shit like that. I mean, and then when the and then when the I mean, AI data centers, they can be pretty noisy as hell. They can make you sick. They can disturb you all throughout the night. The light pollution would just be horrendous. And on top of that, it will warm the base by as much as 10 degrees Celsius in some instances. The rivers would be dried up. Many species that rely on those rivers will be gone. The trees will eventually die in that area because of dehydration, and so would the plants. It'll basically make it look like a desert. Trying to push that shit onto fucking everyone, this AI shit. And that AI slop. Does anyone even like AI slop? No. Except for people who have no taste in media, of course, that bad taste. Okay? In general, AI generated slop sucks. In general, they don't have any soul. And like, you don't need to like raise its capacities above, DALI Mini. Like, that's very unnecessary. You don't need to put all these AI data centers and stuff like that. You shouldn't try to make it look perfect. That's not the point. I mean, the charm of the old DALI Mini was, of course, to imagine a funny scenario and just laugh at the pictures. I think that was the charm of early AI. And now I can recall AI had its reverence back in the day, but when it's got more advanced, and when it became harder to tell which one is real and which one's AI, people fucking lambast this whole AI shit, and rightfully so. Like, people who pass off AI videos as real, they can go fuck themselves. Alright. I've heard that AI data centers could also be like surveillance systems, probably because they use so much electricity and fucking water to cool down their shit. And it's fresh drinking water, by the way, they try to use up. Like, fuck, man. Like, they really have serious contempt for humanity. They really fucking do. Like, the consequences of this is going to linger on for possibly a century. Possibly a century. What if another pandemic hits and we're just malnourished and shit like that? It will easily kill us. It would easily kill us. And, yeah, like, you could pray that maybe a tornado hits a data center, but, what the fuck, man? But even if that's not the case, again, human DNA is going to be outdated eventually, and they won't last, and then they'll be gone. Regardless if the world was run by total cunts and so on and so forth, it's just fucking. It's like, But either way, humanity would eventually become extinct. There's no way you can completely stop that. There's no way. But according to like how the world is going right now, humanity may not survive another century if they keep pushing that data center bullshit amongst other things. Humans will become much more weaker. And when they have, like, I don't know, is this going to be like another Tower of Babel thing? But even with the, but even with that, even if they are eventually dysfunctional completely, I mean the effects are still going to linger on for quite some time. So yeah, I think that's a theory of the. That's just my theory. And no, I didn't come up with a theory that humanity may be extinct by the next 10,000 years. It's just a friend of mine told me about it, and it's a pretty interesting thing to note. But yeah, we seem to be past our prime regardless. Human evolution, eventually humans are going to get dumber. They wouldn't be able to keep up with the infrastructure. Cities will become abandoned and stuff like that. I mean, in Japan alone, there's like 9 million abandoned houses. 9 million of them. Mind you, and that's a lot. So, a population rebound may be possible, but it's not going to last forever. Population may be rebound at one point and then fall, but in the long term, human population may have reached, I mean, it may not have reached its peak yet, but the fertility probably most definitely have. The fertility rate most definitely have. It said we would cap at around 11 billion, at most 15 billion, but I really don't think it will go above that. We've reached several points in history, several points of no return. But that's what happens when you get so big. That's what happens when you reach its prime. Eventually, it's going to go past its prime. Things are going to become wonky. And yeah, I mean, we're living in some weird, crazy times right now. But this is probably the first signs of humanity actually going through the path of extinction. I mean, it hasn't reached its highest population yet, but it will, and then it will drop, from what I can tell. But yeah, the Georgia Guidestones with the idea that humanity should cap at around 500 million to actually help preserve the climate around us. I've seen this David Attenborough documentary called A Life on Our Planet and stuff like that, you know. He suggests that humanity should be at like 500 million population. You know, I think that's where it could be sustainable. I mean, that's how humanity can save the planet and themselves, basically. But you know, I mean, this is basically how to stop the next mass extinction. But unfortunately, corporations are run by greedy fucking cunts, and they fucking hate us, and they fucking hate everything. They're fucking psychopaths. They're fucking psychopaths, really. The higher ups. So yeah, there's that. People are just so full of shit. They don't fucking care about us, and especially the higher ups, they're just consumed in greed. They think they really need more than they should have. To me, I was suggesting, why not humanity actually live to a point where they don't affect much of the. Well, they have caused an extinction already. Yes, I mean humans have caused extinctions of many animals by overhunting, overfishing, and amongst other shit, deforestation, and changing of the global temperatures and stuff like that. Whether you like to agree with it or not, but pollution. But as much as you disagree on the stance of climate change, it's just you just can't ignore the fact that areas around you could eventually be uninhabitable. I know it's like I know it's like some sort of liberal stance on global warming and stuff like that. I mean, but at the end of the day, that's just my okay. I'm just gonna end this before I what's that word again? Contradict myself. Okay. All right. Humans should coexist with nature, not destroy it. That's all I have to say for humanity's time here. All right.